Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason.
No, it's business. It's the office. I enjoy it because this is what I love to do.
Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter.
I understand, Canelo is bigger than me and whatnot, but I'm up for the challenge.
Canelo Alvarez has responded to new training footage of Terence Crawford, who is ramping up his preparation for a potential fight against Alvarez. Crawford's training regimen features a mix of strength and conditioning exercises, including weightlifting and resistance training, aimed at boosting his power and endurance. He is also sharpening his punching techniques with mitt work and heavy bag sessions, honing his speed and precision. Arab Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh, a passionate boxing enthusiast, has pledged to bring several world-class fights by 2025. Among the most anticipated is the potential clash between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, rumored to take place in September. According to Boxing News Online, both fighters reportedly met privately in London last week, outside of Al-Sheikh's involvement, to negotiate terms for their highly anticipated bout. ESPN reports that the fight is being planned for Mexico's Independence Day weekend in mid-September and is expected to be held in Las Vegas. Boxing specialist Mike Coppinger revealed, "From what I'm told, they're in the process of finalizing a deal for a fight in September on Mexican Independence Day weekend, set at a 168 pounds weight limit with no rehydration clause." However, one significant hurdle remains. Crawford would need to gain 14 pounds to meet the super middleweight limit, as he is currently more accustomed to competing at lower weight classes. Canelo has steadily moved up through the divisions during his career, starting as a super welterweight, where he won the WBC world title. He later became the unified middleweight champion at 160 obs. He briefly moved to light heavyweight to defeat Sergey Kovalev for the IBF title before returning to super middleweight, where he made history as the first undisputed four-belt champion in the division. While Canelo's fights rarely go the distance, something uncommon since 2016, Crawford would face the challenge of jumping 2 weight classes to compete with the Mexican superstar. Canelo has expressed skepticism about the matchup, citing the importance of weight divisions in boxing. "There are weight classes for a reason," Canelo remarked, implying that Crawford's best performance occurs at 147 obs. Crawford, who recently moved to 154 obs and won a world title by defeating Errol Spence Jr., would face the steep uphill battle against Canelo at 168 obs. The size and power differences could prove significant. Canelo's stance emphasizes the traditional boxing principle that weight classes exist to ensure fairness, competitive balance, and the safety of athletes, preserving the integrity of the sport.
Obviously, you can't look forward past Saturday, but do you feel like a fight like Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and then you never know what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Canelo Alvarez has criticized Terence Crawford's boxing record, suggesting it lacks the depth and quality of elite-level opposition. Speaking to TMZ Sports Canelo downplayed Crawford's accomplishments, stating, "He's very talented, but he's only had one big win. If you look at his record, he's only beaten one notable fighter, Errol Spence. Other than that, there's no one else on his resume to justify all the praise he's received." Canelo specifically highlighted Crawford's victory over Errol Spence, characterizing it as less impressive due to Spence's diminished state. Spence, who survived a high-speed Ferrari crash in 2019, has been criticized for not performing at his peak since the incident. Canelo suggested that Crawford's career success is partly a result of strategic matchmaking by promoters in modern boxing. Crawford, who has remained undefeated over his 17-year career, has often been the favorite in his bouts. Critics argue this is due to a lack of 50-50 matchups against equally talented fighters. According to Canelo, Crawford's resume doesn't compare to other top-tier boxers, as it features few, if any, standout victories beyond his win against Spence.
Are you tired of people asking you about Terence yet?
No, look, I always say, I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just win one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence. He did a really good job with the Spence. He did like almost look very easy. But I knew Terence Crawford is a great fighter. But you never know in boxing. We'll see.
Canelo Alvarez recently commented on Terence Crawford's career, prompting a sharp response from Crawford on X, formerly Twitter. Laughing off the criticism, Crawford wrote, "LOL, that's crazy. So every fighter I fought is not good but one. Just remember what you said, because I've always enjoyed making somebody look like a nobody." Critics of Crawford argue that his career has been carefully managed, claiming he's faced mostly B-level opponents to maintain his undefeated record while avoiding elite fighters like Jiran Ennis, Bakram Murtazaliyev, and Virgil Ortiz Jr. Some suggest that Crawford should move up to 168 ULBs to challenge top-tier opponents such as David Benavidez or David Morrell to prove he's deserving of a bout with Canelo. Crawford, however, remains confident in his achievements, dismissing claims that his resume is padded and reiterating his dominance in the sport. Meanwhile, Canelo has acknowledged the widespread demand for fights against him, saying, "Everyone wants to fight with me, so it's fine." If a fight makes sense, then why not? Although Canelo initially hesitated to fight Crawford, citing concerns about receiving credit for beating a smaller opponent, his perspective appears to have shifted. Recently, he met with boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh in London to discuss a potential bout with Crawford. If the fight happens, Crawford will need to move up to super middleweight, a significant leap that many experts believe will be a major challenge for him. Two-weight world champion Teofimo Lopes, who is trained with Canelo under coach Eddie Reynoso, is among those who think the weight jump could be too much for Crawford. Despite these concerns, the possibility of the matchup has generated considerable excitement among boxing fans and analysts alike.
It's disrespectful for Crawford to call you out at 68, say that he can beat you at this weight.
No, everybody wants to fight with me, so it's fine.
That being a biggest fight possible in boxing, is that something you'd actually be interested in?
It's crazy when you asking about that, because you say, your matchup is coming out of the other weight classes, and that's it, and he's welterweight. So don't make sense. But if the fight made sense, why not?
A lot of people have him at number one pound for pound. You think that's fair to you?
It's a few people there who deserve be the number one pound per pound, and it's fine.
Canelo Alvarez has expressed confidence about a potential fight with Terence Crawford, describing it as easy money. He added, "If the money is right, I'm in. I don't like fighting guys like Crawford because he moves a lot, and the fight is boring." This comment reflects Canelo's belief that Crawford's movement-heavy style doesn't align with his preferred matchups. Despite this, discussions about a bout between the two champions have gained traction. Reports suggest that an agreement has been reached for a fight in Las Vegas in September 2025, generating significant excitement within the boxing community. Canelo, fresh off his victory over Edgar Berlanga, has acknowledged the possibility of facing Crawford, stating, "Anything is possible." He emphasized the importance of securing favorable terms for such a high-profile matchup. In a recent development, both Canelo and Crawford have reportedly engaged in promising discussions with Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh to arrange the fight. According to sources, the two fighters have agreed to a September 2025 showdown in Las Vegas. While this potential mega fight is highly anticipated, Canelo remains focused on his current commitments and has stated that he would consider the matchup after fulfilling his existing obligations.
Always is a chance there, right? We'll see, but always is a chance there, and we're here to make the best deals, and always a chance.
And I do have to ask you about Dimitri Bivol, because that's a rematch you've always talked about wanting. How do you see the rematch going with Bivol and Beterbiev?
I think it's gonna be another good fight. It's gonna be another good fight. Both fighters are good fighters, so I think both have a chance to win. Like the previous one was a really good fight.
So whatever is next, we look forward to it, my friend. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Canelo Alvarez is expected to play a central role in the highly anticipated Riyadh series following recent discussions about a potential mega fight with Terence Crawford. Scheduled for September 2025, the event in Saudi Arabia aims to showcase world-class boxing talent, with both fighters reportedly agreeing to terms for the showdown. Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh has been actively working to bring major boxing events to the region, reportedly offering over $200 million to secure Canelo's participation in Riyadh. During an interview at the opening of El Pastor del Rey in San Diego, Canelo expressed his openness to the opportunity, stating, "I never say no to business." Canelo also revealed that 80% of the profits from his fights, including ticket sales, go directly to him. He acknowledged the financial risks he takes but emphasized that the substantial rewards make it worthwhile. This willingness to negotiate and embrace lucrative opportunities aligns with Canelo's approach to building his legacy, both in and out of the ring.
Saul, my carnal, how are you? Quick question. I know that as we walk, how important is it that you've spoke with Turki Al-Sheikh?
Say again, please.
How important for you is it that you've spoke to Turki Al-Sheikh, and what did you speak about?
Look, I like to work with everybody. I'm a free agent, and I like to work with everybody. And I like to have the doors open.
Are we going to see Canelo Crawford next?
We'll see. It's a possibility there always. No, we'll see what happens.
Have you spoke with Turki about that show?
Yeah,
about Canelo?
we know each other. We don't talk that much for make a deal and anything, but we now know each other, and we'll see what happens.
Last one, I know you're pushed for time. Benavidez Morel, who wins?
It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight. 50-50 fight.
Canelo, thank you for that.
In a recent interview, Mikey Garcia shared his perspective on a hypothetical fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Garcia praised Crawford as one of the most skilled fighters he has ever seen, recounting a conversation where he acknowledged Crawford's accomplishments and the lack of recognition he receives due to politics and favoritism in boxing. Despite Crawford's impressive skills, Garcia pointed to the significant size difference as a decisive factor. He noted that Canelo competes at 168 lbs, while Crawford recently moved up to 154 lbs and faced challenges at that weight. Garcia expressed doubt that Canelo would drop below 166 lbs, emphasizing that the size and power advantage would favor Canelo, even though Crawford is the more technically skilled fighter. Ultimately, Garcia stated that he is not in favor of the matchup, believing that Crawford has already cemented his greatness across multiple weight divisions. Veteran boxing analyst Dan Rafael also weighed in on the potential fight, highlighting the business savvy of Canelo, who would likely be motivated by the substantial financial rewards such a bout could generate. Rafael suggested that this matchup could become one of the most significant in boxing history, drawing massive attention and generating tremendous revenue. He emphasized that both fighters are at the peak of their careers, making this potential showdown one of the most highly anticipated events in the sport.
In the May, I've read somewhere that Canelo has shortlisted Crawford for the May fight, his fight in May. Dan, what's happening?
Yeah, listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turki or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, in a big time fight?
Ryan Garcia has voiced strong confidence in a potential matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, predicting that Canelo's size and strength would give him the upper hand. Garcia's outlook aligns with recent reports suggesting that negotiations for the fight are nearing completion, with a target date set for September 2025 in Las Vegas. The bout is expected to take place at 168 lbs, requiring Crawford to move up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo for his unified super middleweight titles. This fight is poised to become a massive commercial event, generating global attention from boxing fans. Terence Crawford has also expressed enthusiasm for the potential showdown, calling it the biggest fight in boxing. He has long sought this matchup, recognizing its immense appeal. While acknowledging Canelo's significant size advantage, Crawford stated, "Canelo is bigger than me, but remains confident in his abilities and eager to take on the challenge." With both fighters at the peak of their careers, the bout is reportedly close to being finalized. Scheduled for September 2025 in Las Vegas, it promises to be one of the most highly anticipated events in boxing history, drawing worldwide interest and excitement.
Guys, we know the fighters know the intel before the news gets released to the public. King Ryan was asked about Canelo Crawford. He not only says he can't believe they got that fight done, meaning that that's a done deal. We obviously knew that, but he also gives you who he thinks wins that fight, Canelo or Crawford. Do you agree with Ryan Garcia?
Right.
What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's going to be a great fight, too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason.
Last question, Ali.
Stephen A. Smith recently shared his thoughts on a potential matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, highlighting the fight's intrigue. Initially, Smith leaned toward Crawford, praising his exceptional boxing skills and ability to outclass opponents with his technique and strategy. However, Smith expressed concerns about Crawford's ability to handle Canelo's physicality and power. He noted that Canelo's relentless pressure and devastating punches have overwhelmed many fighters who couldn't keep him at bay. While Crawford may hold a technical advantage, Smith questioned whether he could endure or evade Canelo's power over the course of a fight. Ultimately, Smith found the matchup fascinating, emphasizing that it would be a true test of Crawford's skill and strategy against a fighter as dominant and imposing as Canelo.
Speaking of Canelo, it looks very possible he'll fight Crawford in May. What would you think of that matchup, Canelo and Crawford?
You know what, I think my initial reaction would be to say that I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, as seasoned as he is with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record. He's phenomenal. But Crawford is something special. I think that he's a better pure boxer. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. My concern is that he won't hurt Canelo. And if he doesn't hurt Canelo and can't hurt Canelo, then Canelo keeps coming. Similar to how he stalked Charlo how he stalked. Once he had Plant hurt, he chased after him. Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot. But to me, can Crawford hurt him? I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. If Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And I'm wondering whether he can stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer.
Crawford's fight with Julius Indongo highlighted that facing him might not be as easy or punishing as some expect. While he faced challenges early on, Crawford showcased his true strength as a fighter, turning the tide with his skill and resilience. His willingness to fight and relentless drive to win are key factors in his success. When the stakes are high and rounds are close, Crawford consistently rises to the occasion, demonstrating his dedication and championship mindset. However, the primary concern in a potential matchup remains the weight difference. While some may downplay or speculate about the significance of this factor, the disparity in size poses a substantial challenge that cannot be ignored.
Let's be honest, when Crawford fought Madrimov, he had his hands full, especially early in the fight. Now, I give props to Crawford because Crawford is the type of fighter where he does have like a chip on his shoulder and a willingness to win. He has drive, and if you tell him step it up, the rounds are too close, you're going to get a dedicated Crawford. So he is a true fighter, a true champion, all that. The biggest gripe I have with the fight is the weight. You guys could try to spin it and say, I hate this guy or that guy. I don't really care. What do I look like being a true alpha and being bothered by what people say? I don't care. I'm telling you my opinion. And my opinion is not going to change because I know you guys can't change it. I've said the same thing, and not one time have I heard one of the Bud Buddies offer a solution to the arguments that I've brought up. Crawford is good, but so is Canelo. If they were naturally the same size, which they're not, Crawford is probably maybe a little bit taller, but I'm talking about mass.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.